today on an all-new Dr. Phil.
Thousands of fans were left agitated.
A social media festival
There were 20,000 people outside waiting to get in.
goes terribly wrong.
The failure of the event immediately made international headlines.
When 20,000 people showed up at this hotel behind me for a venue that only fit 5,000 people, things went really bad, really fast.
It was a mess from the beginning. Outside, people were crying.
Now,
Michael says he was falsely branded a scammer.
I was getting death threats, messages to commit suicide.
You're obviously very defensive. You're very aggressive.
I'm here to get healing for myself.
So it has nothing to do with the fact that you're trying to do another TanaCon?
Let's do it.
Good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
Today's going to be a changing day in your life.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. Well, you may have heard of Comic-Con or VidCon, festivals and entertainment expos with great reputations that annually draw in thousands of fans and social media influencers. But the 2018 festival TanaCon became famous for a completely different reason. My guest today, Michael, threw his own event, TanaCon, which featured celebrities and influencers and was supposed to be a unique experience for creators and fans to connect. Take a look.
This is the meet and greet check-in line. This is crazy.
Today, it has been canceled completely. We want our money back! Refund! Refund!
I never expected 20,000 people to show up.
But the event was shut down on the very first day after they say an additional 15,000 unregistered guests showed up and became a security issue for the hotel. Now, the failure of TanaCon, the event immediately made international headlines, and Michael says he was falsely branded a scammer and as a result had to file Chapter 7 bankruptcy.
When 20,000 people showed up at this hotel behind me for a venue that only fit 5,000 people, things went really bad, really fast, and they even turned violent. YouTube fans turned wild. Fans at TanaCon say an angry mob grabbed tickets and rushed the lobby of this Marriott, where Tana Mongeau held her own event competing with VidCon.
I got pulled by the shirt from security, pushed by a cop, pulled by the hair by a fan.
Police say hotel staff called them for help. One fan was taken by ambulance to the hospital with minor injuries. The event was shut down 2 hours after it started.
This is the meet and greet check-in line. This is crazy.
Thousands of fans were left agitated after attending an event meant for them to meet their favorite online influencers. TanaCon. VIP tickets started at $65 plus tax. Krista Walgren bought two and says each ticket was supposed to come with a bag, valued at 4 times the cost of the ticket. Instead, she says she got this: a condom, a plastic bracelet, stickers, and a phone grip.
It just was like a lot of empty promises.
Day 2 of TanaCon was canceled. Good Times, the company that helped put on the event, took to Twitter to apologize to fans, saying when 15,000 unregistered guests showed up, they were unable to accommodate the more than 10,000 attendees they hadn't expected.
Well, Michael says he is still experiencing backlash and online bullying 2 years after the business fiasco. He also claims to be misrepresented in the media and wants to clear his name, and says that I'm the only person who he believes can help do that.
2 years ago, I had everything going for me. My career was booming. And then it's like the floor just dropped out from below me. I was the founder and CEO of a company called Good Times Entertainment. I met an influencer and a YouTuber named Tana Mojo. I approached her and came up with this idea that we should create a convention. My staff and I spent about 6 months or so planning this event.
Do we have any update on signage?
We're creating that.
We had a staff of over 100 people working on TanaCon.
The concern of mine is I cannot fit 30,000 people in this hotel. 5,000, yeah. 10,000, we can push it.
First few hours of TanaCon went off flawlessly. The doors opened and we had quite a crowd already had lined up hours before the event, just waiting to get in. Everything seemed to be going great. And then my assistant runs up to me in a panic. The hotel had shut the doors, and what that did was instantly create madness. There were 20,000 people outside waiting to get in.
This is the meet and greet check-in line. This is crazy.
We were over capacity by 15,000 people. Things escalated with the hotel staff. They expressed they would not open that door. The entire thing just kind of spiraled out of control.
Refund! Refund! Refund!
Within a matter of seconds, police swarmed the building, getting on their loudspeakers, "Please evacuate immediately."
All right, guys, everybody, let's go!
Fans who had paid money to have this experience were confused. People were left stranded outside in the burning sun. Police wanted answers, our fans wanted answers. I was extremely overwhelmed. As a CEO, I had the pressure on my shoulders to make the decision to cancel the event. I felt broken and devastated. I felt like right there in that moment, my career was over. This is a social media event, and almost immediately, the internet exploded. I was getting death threats, I was getting berated with messages to commit suicide, kill myself. I was painted as an evil villain, a scam artist, or a conspiracy theorist. None of it's true, not even remotely. I personally lost an estimated $750,000 on the event. I was forced to file Chapter 7 bankruptcy. It's been over 2 years since TanaCon, and to this day, people still harass me. What I want to do is clear my name and set the record straight. The reason I contacted Dr. Phil is I feel like he's the only person that can relate to what I'm going through. He's in the public eye, and it's something that no one else can really understand.
Okay, Michael, it's good to meet you.
Nice to meet you. It was an honor to be here.
I've done live events all over the place, all over the world, and the promoter is always invisible. Why were you so high profile in this, that people are 2 years later bad-mouthing you? How do people even know who you are?
It's a combination of things. I had already had an established presence online at that point anyways. I had over 300,000 followers on Vine when Vine existed. So I was already known and recognized
as an individual.
As an individual,
okay.
Yes. And then once everything kind of escalated and such, I was thrown into the media even more, just because everyone had to turn to some sort of answer, and obviously that was me.
This was TanaCon.
Right.
So this was Tana Mojo and a bunch of other influencers and all, and you're in the background on this. You're not one of the creators, you're not one of the influencers, you're not one of the talent that's out there. How do they even know who to blame, to find you to blame?
Well, I mean, I had to go out and, when I made an announcement when it was canceled, all these news cameras were everywhere, just pointed on me, the hotels, everyone's coming at me.
But I thought Sydney went out and told everybody it was canceled.
She did, so Sydney went out.
It wasn't you, it was Sydney.
The first time, and then at the end, when I had to make the official cancellation, she went out to try to de-escalate the situation.
Okay.
And then when I had to go out at the end and make the final calls, that was when all the cameras were there. I think that was a clip in your video.
Okay, and then clear this up for me, because I saw a video online by Tana Mojo and announced that she was going to do this, where she said, "I'm going to do this on the same day as VidCon, a free meet and greet."
Right.
But then I heard everybody chanting, "Refund, refund, refund." How do you refund free?
Well, so not every ticket was free. There was a free ticket, and we gave away several hundred free tickets, but there was also an elevated, I believe it was a VIP ticket that was $65 or so. So it was a combination of free tickets, and then her saying that added to the theory that there was even more free tickets available, which, obviously escalated when people showed up out of nowhere. But there was a paid ticket as well.
Okay. So there were free tickets?
There were, yes, sir.
So if this thing goes perfectly, just swimmingly, if everything goes perfect, wouldn't that have been nice?
How it would have.
Let's say this thing went swimmingly. How much did your company stand to make? Perfect world, home run.
About $350,000.
This is a a big platform, and I've got millions and millions of people on social media that follow me as well. What would you like to say to anyone who attended TanaCon in 2018 that you've been misrepresented, mischaracterized, maligned? What do you want people to know? What would you like to say?
That's a good question. I mean, there's probably 1,000 things in my head. One is I'm sorry. I'm sorry that their expectations were not met. I wish people would not tell me to kill myself every day. That would be great, because it's a mistake, even at any age. No one wants to feel like the whole world hates them. Many things. I wish people would just give me a chance, or look at me like, I'm sure you've dealt with this. People in the media are not often portrayed as real human beings. Like, I guess people don't think I have emotions or feelings, but being told to kill yourself every day is not a great way to wake up and start your morning. And this goes for anything, I guess. Just don't believe the word of an influencer or someone else as the word of God. Like, I just wish people would just like get the whole picture, you know?
Well, that is a totally different response than I expected from you.
Really?
Yeah. And I'll tell you why right after the break. So what was TanaCon like for those in the midst of the chaos? We'll talk to one attendee who says she was frustrated and also a makeshift security guard when we come back. There was a 5-hour wait to get inside.
I was one of the 1,000 people that got inside.
I'm not here to relive the past, and I'm sorry that you had that experience. That's why I made the decision to, if I could speak.
We can talk about some of the lies you mentioned earlier.
Wednesday.
Alexandria has gone to the emergency room 600 times.
Sometimes it can be like 3-4 times a week.
Been fired from 4 jobs because you just walked out and went to the hospital.
Yeah.
You got off a plane because you thought you were having appendicitis.
I would feel like something is wrong, like in that moment. And then I just like literally like start panicking. If I don't go to the hospital, something is gonna happen to me.
That's Wednesday. Then on Thursday, the last interview with Mother God before her decaying body was discovered wrapped in Christmas lights.
Glitter makeup was painted on her face.
This is one of the most dangerous religious groups.
That's Thursday.
TanaCon got canceled. This weekend was promised to be filled with the possibility to meet all my favorite creators for free or for the small price of $65. Let me tell you what $65 got me. It got me a disgusting sunburn on my shoulders, chest, and scalp. I got a really bad sunburn for waiting in line for 4 hours for literally nothing.
Well, we've been talking to 24-year-old Michael, an entrepreneur and social media manager who says his life turned upside down in 2018 after his social media convention, TanaCon, was forced to shut down due to security concerns. It wasn't that nobody showed up, it was that everybody showed up. TanaCon became an international headline covered by news outlets, influencers, and everyone in between. And now, 2 years later, Michael says the world, well, they just won't let him recover. Joining us from her home in Orange County, California is Amanda. Amanda, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I'm glad you're here because you were there. Why did you feel it was important to participate today and weigh in on what took place?
Well, I felt it was important because even at the event itself, I felt like the safety of attendees wasn't even thought of. Not only just security-wise, refreshments-wise, there was no food or water available aside from the hotel Starbucks. This was an event that was mostly attended by children and young teenagers. Myself included, I was 20 at the time. I went alone, but I ended up becoming a makeshift mom for half of the kids there because no one knew what was going on, and it was so stuffed.
Right, so you were kind of momming out there, helping some of these kids, helping a mother find her kid. I mean, you were doing kind of what there should have been controls to take care of, particularly when you have a magnet for young people, right?
Yes.
Okay, and so...
Can I say something?
Yes, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I can hear you.
First off, I would like to say that I'm sorry that you experienced that. I would also like to address, there's been a common misconception that there wasn't food or water when we actually had over 10 food trucks in the back of the parking lot open to anyone. As far as I know...
Michael.
Go ahead.
Hi, 1 second. So once you got inside, you couldn't leave because they wouldn't let you back inside. So how am I waiting in line? Security that you hired, your event staff, because what's being ignored is how long the wait times is. I got in line before around 7 a.m. I didn't got in at noon. Once you were inside, they made it clear if you want to leave, you have to go all the way back to the end of the line. So if I'm hungry and I have to go and wait to the food trucks, I'm either leaving my line or I'm leaving the event. We can talk about some of the lies you mentioned earlier when I was watching your intro. We can talk about that. Okay. Well, for example, something that's being admitted is that you reached out to Tana because she put out her video. The video went up a month before VidCon and TanaCon. So this whole event was planned in a month. That's not being discussed.
A month?
Yes.
Okay, well, let's talk about some of the things you're talking about. So there was a 5-hour wait to get inside, and you were one of the first ones there?
I was one of the 1,000 people about that got inside.
Okay, and so you were there, when you got there at 7 a.m., were there a lot of people there?
In line, yes.
Okay.
And I'll say this.
And you got in, but you got in.
Yes, I got in.
But once you got in after waiting 5 hours, there were no concessions inside to...
No, there was the Starbucks and there was the hotel gift shop, I believe, which I didn't even try to fight the crowds in there because they were already packed.
There was a full-service restaurant in there as well that we paid.
That was not open to attendees. There was a sign that said featured creators only, which was for the actual influencers of the event on the lineup.
Ultimately, there was a lot of things that went wrong, which is why I made the decision to cancel it. But there's also a lot of misinformation out there. Now, due to VidCon being in the area, we had one choice for security, and we bought every employee that they had. I maxed out their entire team. Like, I bought every single employee that security company had.
When did you do that?
When we planned the event months before. We had our director of the event. Ultimately, we went through walkthroughs with them, walkthrough with that. So everyone was supposed to be allowed back into the event. You weren't supposed to go back into line. Once you checked in, there was a separate entrance to the right that was pre-checked in. Also, side note,
you're saying on the back lot, the lot with, I remember the food trucks you're talking about because I saw them, because I mentioned, I don't know if they pulled up because of this or because they were hired to be there. They were across the street in a side lot outside of the hotel.
We didn't tell the food trucks what to park. We have partners and staff. Like, at the end of the day, I have a huge team to run. But I'm not here to relive the past or talk to you about those kind of things. Again, I'm sorry that you had that experience. That's why I made the decision to, if I could speak, that's why I made the decision to cancel the event for safety. At the end of the day, you think I wanted to cancel it? I knew when I made that call that I would lose everything I had built in my career. Ultimately, it was the only choice to do. And I'm so sorry that you had to experience that. I am, truly. Do you think that's worth me killing myself over?
I've never once said that.
I took responsibility. We refunded everyone, and still I'm paying the price years later.
That was pretty condescending.
There's only so much reparation I can pay. Lost my house over it, lost my car, lost my business, lost my friends, lost pretty much everything you can imagine.
Starting next Monday.
I'm here, so I want to dig into it.
Well, you're barely here because you tried to leave already.
A Dr. Phil intervention.
I was addicted to heroin, and I was getting beat up, that I left my kids. What do you need to understand?
Like never before.
Are y'all smoking and drinking together?
Yes.
Why is she saying yes and you're saying no?
I don't smoke or drink. I'm the outsider watching them two connect.
I'm not sure that you guys are ready to change.
Be specific.
Oh, I've been specific. I gave you a specific assignment that you just blew off. Is there anything that I say to you that you're not going to argue with?
I'm going to argue what I feel is right.
Is there confusion about biology in this family? Is this your biological father?
I can leave and you can finish it with them.
You do whatever you want.
I tried. I've never heard my wife say Ariel could be another man's daughter. That hit a nerve.
When the bones are good, the rest don't matter.
This family doesn't need a remodel. It needs a tear down and rebuild.
The house don't fall when the bones are good.
Today was earth-changing, life-changing for so many of us.
Next Monday, only on Dr. Phil.
Here's a graphic of the security protocols. Medical. If an attendee requires medical attention, please bring them to the medical team and document everything: names, contact information, age, whatever, etc. If they're not able to be transported to the medical team, please radio your supervisor to dispatch a medic. Questions. Do not answer anything if you don't know the definite answer. Radio a supervisor, contact the executive staff member, direct them to the customer service booth. Last thing you want is to give them bad information. Meet and greet flow. Keep the flow moving. Don't let girls linger too long. Let them do their thing and move on. If they linger, be nice. Kindly tell them to move on and call the next girl. Don't let girls put their bags down until it's their turn to meet and greet. Tell the girls to have their phones and cameras ready. So these were the security protocols. What was the date that you signed with the hotel?
The date I signed the contract?
Yeah.
I don't know, to be honest. So much has happened since then.
Because it was within a month of the event being planned.
I honestly don't know off the top of my head. I'd have to look through the documents, which I'm sure I have a copy of somewhere. Everything that could have went wrong did. And I'm so sorry that happened. I really am. I wish I could have done things differently. Also, we didn't expect that many people to be there. Some of these issues that came up would have never happened. You know, like we would have, in an ideal world, I would have had the Anaheim Convention Center. Oh wait, VidCon was there. If I proposed to move it to a different date, it needed to be the same time as VidCon. That was.
And what was the date of the event?
I want to say June, like 20th through the 23rd, something like that. It was right around.
I believe it was the 22nd.
Yeah, I want to say that one of the days was the 22nd. But ultimately, for me, it felt.
Can we talk about the tickets?
Well, the security contract was signed on June 22nd.
Yes, we finalized security ultimately several different times. That's probably like the final draft version.
What do you want to say about the tickets? Then we have to go to break.
Oh, well, Michael said that there was several hundred free tickets, and there just wasn't. There was 200.
That would classify
because
as several
he
hundred.
himself said in his documentary that he put out, that he produced, that he starred in about the event, he shows the ticket portal, and on it, it shows free ticket or the VIP section, 200, and then featured creator, he had that at about 5,000.
Right, 5,200. Now, I do think we added another 300 free tickets at some point after that, but regardless, I would classify 200 free tickets as several free tickets or several hundred. That's more than 100. With that said, there are safety concerns. I couldn't just give everyone a free ticket. Like that would
but when you have the advertised, when you're advertising the event as mostly free,
who advertised that? Because I did not advertise a free event.
Most of this was done over Twitter. That is what.
I don't see how, frankly, that's not relevant to anything. But I thank you for your observation.
Well, that was pretty condescending.
I mean, I'm not here to relive the past about things that could have happened. I'm here to heal.
That is exactly what you're here for.
I'm not, though. I'm here to heal and help some little 13-year-old girl who's being cyberbullied, who's contemplating suicide, something I've dealt with for 3 years, every waking moment, told that I'm a worthless human being over a mistake and that I should kill myself? Are you kidding me?
Kill yourself.
What'd you say? I should?
You shouldn't. Don't even try and put that in my mouth.
I'm not. That's what I'm here for.
Not okay
I'm not here to talk about how many tickets I should have or how many people should have done this. I know I made mistakes. I'm sorry. There's only so much reparation I can pay. Lost my house over it, lost my car, lost my business, lost my friends, lost pretty much everything you can imagine. Had to rebuild, had to restart, still being told to kill myself. I'm here to help some other little girl and to get healing from myself, not relive the past.
So it has nothing to do with the fact that you're trying to do another TanaCon?
Girl.
You're obviously very angry.
I am.
You're obviously very defensive.
I am. And I did apologize, and I have.
No, you didn't apologize. Fill in the Blanks is back with all new shows that will provide you with the information you need to fill in the blanks in your life. I'm hosting top experts in brain health and behavioral science, the best women and children's advocates and visionaries who share their experience, strength, and hope with the important topics, including how to help children navigate the new normal and how to understand human behavior.
An all-new season of Fill in the Blanks starts May 25th. Available on Apple Podcasts and Stitcher.
would like to say is, I said I was surprised by your answer before, and I'm surprised by your attitude now, because you say you want to heal, but yet you're obviously very angry.
I am.
You're obviously very defensive.
I am.
You're very aggressive. And I can tell you that's not helping your situation at all.
Okay.
Look, I think people are very forgiving. And I think that what I expected from you was to come in and say, I had really good intentions, but obviously I blew it. I didn't have foresight. I didn't see around corners. I didn't anticipate that the promotion for this was going to trigger people to come that weren't expected to come.
And all that's true.
We were overwhelmed, and the buck stops here. I'm the promoter. It's my job to anticipate, as a professional, what's going to happen and have the resources in place. And I blew it, and I was wrong, and I'm sorry for that. It did not go down professionally, and that was my job, and that stops with me.
Yes,
and
sir.
I have learned huge lessons from that.
Indeed.
And will be better in the future. And you've said none of that. You've said, I'm a victim, I'm being picked on. How am I supposed to know this? How am I supposed to know that? You're supposed to know that because you are a professional.
And I did apologize, and I have.
No, you didn't apologize. You gave an excuse cloaked as an apology with no genuine remorse whatsoever.
I am remorseful. I just apologized to her, and I apologized to you before I said that. But at the end of the day...
Well, I don't think she feels apologized to. I think she feels attacked.
And vice versa. She's saying, I'm doing TanaCon too. You don't know that I'm doing TanaCon too. Whoever said that?
We have to take a break. What happened when my team reached out for statements on Michael's behalf? That's not what you may expect. We'll be right back.
I feel like TanaCon was a complete sham.
Michael definitely made promises that he could never keep.
I was the one who had to go outside and cancel the event. The fans and their families were absolutely irate.
Michael had no problem humiliating employees in front of everyone else.
Wednesday.
Alexandria has gone to the emergency room 600 times.
Sometimes it can be like 3-4 times a week.
Been fired from 4 jobs because you just walked out and went to the hospital?
Yeah.
You got off a plane because you thought you were having appendicitis.
I would feel like something is wrong, like in that moment. And then I just literally start panicking. If I don't go to the hospital, something is gonna happen to me.
That's Wednesday. Then on Thursday, the last interview with Mother God before her decaying body was discovered wrapped in Christmas lights.
Glitter makeup was painted on her face.
This is one of the most dangerous religious groups.
That's Thursday.
When I was planning TanaCon, I had a core group of people. I called my executive staff. We were a tight group of about 5 people who worked tirelessly, sleepless nights planning this event. I admit it, I can be very intense. As a business owner, I'm passionate about my company, and a deadline is a deadline. Can we see that space? Yeah. So I expect the best from my employees. Working for me is an incredible opportunity to learn. If people didn't like my management style, I didn't hold them hostage. They're welcome to leave at any time. As a leader and as a boss, I don't really know how all my employees felt about me. I would have loved to have good, honest feedback.
We've been talking to 24-year-old Michael, who made international headlines for organizing the infamous convention TanaCon in 2018. He says after TanaCon's demise, he was forced to file Chapter 7 bankruptcy and lost his former LLC and ultimately his employees. Now, Michael says for 2 years he's been misrepresented in the news and drove 2,000 miles to be here today to clear his name. And why did he do that? Because we're not flying guests in right now due to COVID-19. Now, Michael gave us a list of people to reach out to in support of him. Surprising, only a few responded. Now, one of those is currently a client of Michael's named Blake. And joining us from Reno, Nevada is Blake, who is a social media influencer with over 1 million followers. So Blake, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, Dr. Phil. How are you?
Well, it's good. I'm glad to meet you.
Good to meet you too.
You know about all of this situation, and you know Michael. What's been your experience in dealing with him?
So I was actually at TanaCon as a fan. I purchased the $65 VIP pass. I didn't know Michael at the time. I just was a really big fan of Tana and still am. But after that, I met Michael through some mutual friends, and he has been my manager since May of 2019, and he's been amazing.
Right. So do you think he's suffering from unfair treatment?
I do, because even like if I post with him or something, like I get super negative comments on my stuff like about him.
There are things being said about him, go kill yourself, you're not worth living, you're a liar, a cheat, a scammer, you can't be trusted, et cetera, et cetera. Has that been your experience in working with him?
No.
So how do you find him to work with?
Working with Michael, he is like always so professional and just like always so bougie. But he is so professional, and he has just like overall just been an amazing friend for me. Like as my manager, I have been going through it for the last year or two, and like no matter what, he's just always been there for me, but like stayed strictly like professional, and he's my manager, and he helps me through so much, honestly.
Thanks, Blake.
So your experience of him is not what he's being characterized by some others in the media. Your personal experience, you looked past all of that, met him, and found him to be different than how he's being characterized.
Yeah, I think Michael is great for me. I think everyone is allowed to have their own opinions, but I think Michael and I work together really well. And I think he works really well as my social media manager, and he's like taken me on tour and just done amazing things.
Sydney, describe what you experienced the moment you announced TanaCon was canceled.
I feel like I almost blacked out, and in that moment, everything just collapsed.
Wednesday on an all-new Dr. Phil. 600 visits to the ER.
Sometimes it can be like 3-4 times a week.
Been fired from 4 jobs because you just walked out and went to the hospital?
If I don't go to the hospital, something is going to happen to me.
That's Wednesday.
Well, for every story, my team conducts an investigation depending on the subject matter. And as I said earlier in Michael's case, we called the references he gave us. That's why we're talking to Blake. And as you can see, we're bringing people that say good things about you as well.
And I love Blake.
That search led to Phil and Sydney, who are Michael's former employees. Here's what they have to say.
Michael has gone from being the golden boy in the industry to literally becoming a scam artist.
Michael is considered an embarrassment to the industry.
Michael scammed people and he frauded people. He definitely knew what he was doing. As the creative director of Michael's company, I was totally concerned about TanaCon being successful.
I was Michael's assistant.
We need to call it 3 and get that stage.
It's booked. They said bring the check by whenever. When the TanaCon event started, it was a mess from the beginning. Outside, people were crying, people were dehydrated.
Michael says we had hundreds of employees. That's not true. We only had 9. Michael definitely made promises that he could never keep. He deceived sponsors, the staff, the creators, and the fans. No one got their money's worth, really.
I feel like TanaCon was a complete sham.
We have to have the mentality that we're still the top-notch social media company in the game.
The gift bags that Michael promised that would be worth 3 times the ticket was literally worth about $10. If you ask me what went wrong with TanaCon, I believe it was greed. The capacity of the venue was about 1,000 people, and he sold thousands of tickets.
I was the one who had to go outside and cancel the event. The fans and their families were absolutely irate. People were throwing things at me. People were cussing me out.
His mom hitting me, literally.
This mom was attacking me. I got attacked.
I do realize now that it was completely unprofessional and wrong.
Michael had no problem humiliating employees in front of everyone else. I've seen Michael drive other employees to tears. He would tell them to shut the up.
Right after TanaCon, I dissolved my appointment with Good Times and Michael.
I stopped working with Michael earlier this year due to unprofessionalism. The sad thing is, I don't even feel like Michael even understands the extent of his own actions.
Well, guys, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Because, y'all, I'm sure, have lots of other places you can be, other things you can do instead of looking over your shoulder into the past and talking about all of this. And, Michael, he did drive 2,000 miles to get here. And I intend to tell him the truth and give him straight up advice. That's why I told him I was shocked at his response, that I thought he was defensive and aggressive and playing the victim instead of owning the situation. And I don't think that's going to get him where he wants to be and hitting the reset button and getting started again. But Sydney, describe what you experienced the moment you announced TanaCon was canceled.
In the moment that TanaCon was canceled, it was absolute terror. Looking back on it now, I feel like I almost blacked out in the situation because there was just so much going on. Going into the event, I'm a college student. I have no professional experience in running events. I came to this as a way to get my feet wet in the industry, and I trusted Michael to do so. And in that moment, everything just collapsed.
Yeah, that wasn't a fun thing to here. Take this megaphone and go out and tell all these pissed off people.
Yep, and it was like I had to weave through the crowd to get there, and standing on the table was like a rickety plastic table, and I was handed a microphone and had to make the best of it, and my hands were tied.
Yeah, and you were associated with Michael for how long?
About a year.
Uh-huh. And was that a positive experience or a negative experience?
Yeah, I think I'm one of the few people who got to see a side of Michael that after this event that not many people knew about. Leading up to it, I had a wonderful experience, great memories, great laughs, but things did start turning south as more success came.
How so?
It became more so not, cherishing the employees, protecting the creators. It became dollar signs. I mean, Michael had a very good start in the social media industry, and as the social media industry grew, Michael grew too, and I believe it became like a power trip almost.
So you think it went to his head?
Yeah, absolutely.
And did it change the way he treated people?
Yes. In my first months of employment with Michael, I enjoyed it. I had so much fun with my coworkers, with Michael. We did so many fun things. But in March, leading up to TanaCon, is when the red flags were really popping up.
Such as?
We were going on a business trip to a convention with all of our clients. And leading up to that event, we were told we were going to take care of our clients, to take care of their meet and greets. We had a whole panel with all of our clients. And when it was close to the event, we were told, me and another employee, we had to earn our way into the event. And we're like, what do you mean? Like, these are our clients. We were told we were going. Michael ended up buying us a ticket. We got there. And when we got there, we were told at that point that we had to earn a bed to sleep in. And it's like, now I'm from Minnesota and I'm in Florida now. I don't know anybody in Florida. And to be looked at and told, like, you have to earn a bed to sleep in, I don't even know what that means or what that looks like. And actually in that moment, Tana and her team were the ones who came to me and our coworker, and they rearranged all their sleeping arrangements, all their hotel arrangements, to make sure that me and my coworker had a bed. And I remember that night being like, I am an employee of this company and I can't I can't even have a bed to sleep in when I'm here working. And not only that, I flew down.
What the hell was that all about?
I'll be honest with you, I don't actually recall this, but I can say that, I mean, I've been to hundreds of those conventions over the years, and I think that if something like that happened, I would have had a reason to do that, whether it was we had clients that needed a bed. Even myself, I would give a client my bed over me sleeping in a bed. It just depends on, I mean, I don't recall that situation. I wish I could think on it, I just don't.
I've had him scream at me. I've had him threaten to not feed me on tours.
I'm not gonna engage with it, I will not. This is so beneath me.
Are you ready to confront someone about sexual abuse you endured as a child? Or have you been falsely accused of abuse and want to clear your name? Log on to drphil.com and send me an email. If it's chosen, I might just be able to help. Want to know what's coming up on Dr. Phil? Visit our website and subscribe to our newsletter. You'll get weekly updates, life strategies, and exclusive video that you won't find anywhere else. Plus, on drphil.com, you can see sneak previews of upcoming shows. Log on today. Unfortunately, we're out of time today, but there is a lot left to discuss with Michael, and believe it or not, even more allegations for him to address. I want to ask him the hard questions because he deserves the right to answer these things if the record is going to get set straight. Tune in tomorrow when we continue to hear from Michael's former employees, Sydney and Phil, and the hostile behavior they claim they witnessed while employed with his previous company. Also, we'll meet Michael's former roommate and former client who both say Michael needs to stop playing the victim and take accountability for his actions. Actions they say go far beyond overcrowding at a convention and include claims of physical assault and theft.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil, the drama continues.
I don't think he has a single staff member who can say anything good about him. I've had him treat me like an abusive father figure.
These laughable accusations, literally not worth my time.
I sat in your apartment as you literally physically assaulted her.
This is so beneath me.
It's the people that get a little bit of success and they strut around like King Kong.
I just don't know what else to do.
You need a wake-up call.
That's tomorrow.
I'd like to thank all of my guests today. For more information about today's show, log on to drphil.com. You can follow me on Facebook, where I'll be discussing this after the show, Twitter, Instagram, where I'm always posting new content and sharing updates about what's going on in my life, Robin's life, our grandkids. And don't forget to subscribe to Robin's podcast, I've Got a Secret, where she and her friends share personal and empowering stories, and no topic is off limits. We'll see you next time.
Memories can kill ya, but I didn't hear ya. I thought that I could fly, but woke up on the asphalt. I swear there was the last time. I've always been naive. Call it.
You know we gon' get